Today I messed up by burning both my armpits. Okay, so I, 35M, have been having light therapy sessions over the past 2 months. This is because of a skin condition I got out of nowhere in 2020, yup, that's how long it's taken to get sorted. This skin problem was over around 80% of my body, so getting it sorted was a must. No one really knows why it happened, but I surmise that it might have had something to do with the fact that I spent a year in my house on my own and getting next to no exposure to sunlight. It has led to me not feeling confident, shying away from photos and wearing a lot of baggy clothes. For those not in the know, light therapy is basically where I stand undressed in something akin to an upright tanning booth where over the course of, up to, 30 sessions, 3 times a week, your body gets blasted with UV rays. It's quite intensive, but once you get into a routine it can be quite an enjoyable experience, with nurses there to document how well the treatment is going, giving words of encouragement all the way. When starting out I was dubious on if it would work, as over the last 3 years I had tried multiple ailments, creams and moisturizers, all to no avail, but after 2 weeks I had started to see results, my skin started looking better and with it my confidence grew. There are a list of do's and don'ts for when you're preparing and attending these sessions, and one of the things you have to do is when standing in the booth for your session, stay still and also in the same position each time. This is to make sure you get an even coverage each time, and there are even handrails in front of you so as to make sure your arms don't get in the way. So this week one of the nurses is so happy with the results that she tells me that I'll probably have my last session this coming Monday, and I'm stoked. After she leaves the changing room to allow me to get ready, goggles etc., I proudly look at myself in the mirror. I'm no looker and I'm chunkier than I once was, but this was the first time I could look at my reflection and not feel repulsed. I then raise one of my arms to see the coverage. The sessions have given me a bit of a tan, something I've not been used to, and to my surprise there was a pale patch around my armpit. I check the other arm to find the same issue. Now any normal person would just shake it off and chuckle about it over time, but I see these pale patches and decide to get stuff done. Without telling the nurses of my discovery I enter the booth and move the placement of my hands up so that my underarms can get unblocked coverage. I'm told I'll be in there for about 4.5 minutes, in the past I've gone up to 9 minutes, so it's not too unusual, so in my mind it should be enough to even out the skin tone. My session finishes and I go home. All the while happy to know that by this time next week my light therapy will be done and dusted. Heading to bed my underarms feel a little bit sore, but something akin to how I felt when starting the course of treatment, so I paid it no mind. I wake up this morning and my underarms are on fire. I carefully hop to the bathroom and look in the mirror. What once were pasty pit patches were now bright red. I find my moisturizer and apply a thick helping on each side. It may not help the redness, but it's cool and soothing, so will do the job for now. I have spent the rest of the day walking around like a guy who goes to the gym way too much, which if you could see the dad bod I'm rocking makes it all the more hilarious. Turns out the nurses weren't lying when they were talking about the intensity of the UV rays, as the reason it takes 10 weeks to do a full course is to make sure your skin is gradually exposed, so basically I've given my armpits the extent of 2 weeks within 4 minutes, ouch. I go back to the hospital tomorrow for my last session of the week and I have no idea what I'm to do. The nurses never asked to check under my arms, so it'll be probably up to me on whether I tell them about my bad decision, although honestly I'm surprised it took me this long to mess up. So yeah, sore and embarrassed doesn't even cover it. Update: I went to the hospital for my appointment today and bit the bullet. I mentioned the redness under the arms and they assumed that in my half-awake state I must have positioned my hands in the wrong place. My appointments are in the morning and I often walk in pretty sleepy, so that saved me some modicum of embarrassment. I was given some sun cream to apply onto the area so as to make sure it wasn't affected further. I have to do the same to my feet as the tops of them have sensitive skin. They then asked me to show them the pose I'd be standing in to see if I could still have the therapy today, basically making sure none of the red areas were on show. Only wobble I may have had was that the machine had had new lights put in on the Thursday, so it was extra toasty, but otherwise everything went fine. I asked about treatment over the weekend and they suggested hydrocortisone, over-the-table stuff, and apply as directed. So yeah, I did a bad thing, but honestly it was a live and learn moment.